I don't actually know if this started up on Kick properly, but we will find out as I pull up all the chats. So anyways, we are on day 61. I'm going to be looking at trading between player and player. We've also got our quests from yesterday that we've got to actually test them out. Yesterday we got most of them in. I was doing a little bit of putting around with stuff afterwards, but we should have our quests there. They should be playable. We're going to actually go and sort of try them out. We might need our graphics and stuff first. We might need to finish some stuff up for the quests. We're gonna send Claude off here on to investigate what has been implemented for the quests. What is missing? What will enable them to be fully completed? Do we have placeholder graphic for the required items, objects, investigation points? Anyways, I'm just going to send that off because I've completely forgotten about those parts. I don't think we actually touched much on that. I do want to take a look at some of the other documentation parts that we started writing up on this so that we can start preparing for trading. I really would like to have player trading in today. I'm not sure if that's a bit of a stretch goal or if that's something we're going to be able to do. It might take a bit longer. Yeah, either way, we're gonna hop in here and find out about these quests. So I'm gonna pop this off the screen. We're gonna get ready to. Oh, we're in the wrong one. Go run command Hatchet. Oh wait, that's the client first, not the server. All right, there we go. Get the server up. We're gonna pull up the client as well. Kind of want to hop back to that first song. It was actually really good. Server up. We're gonna pull up the client. Fun fact, never actually been to the casino, so I have no clue what it's... Alright. So we've got... I'm just trying to align this with the correct spot again. Okay, so if we take a look at the quests, we've got the ones that are available, the ones that we haven't done yet. If we talk to Sergeant, or if we talk to the town guards, we're going to have to go back and rename them, but we've got them for now. Let me accept the quest. Okay, it now shows yellow and we're on the quest. So objective, collect bundle from the banker. I don't know if we can go to any of them, but we'll test that out because there should be herbalist over here. Oh, we can't get out of the building. Doesn't look like we have anything there. Quest didn't update. Nope. So we're gonna go find out if this is actually working. No, it doesn't seem like the quest is really working here. Hey, Oceans, how are you doing? We didn't even have a single option there from... Click bundle from the Guildmaster now. Oh, wait, did it give us something? Okay, it did give us the banker one, but I didn't actually have a quest dialogue option for it. It shouldn't really be doing that until we have had the dialogue. So we'll have to test that out again. Okay, yep. It does look like it's updating, so we should probably add a better way to find out what step of the quest we're on. Well, one do we have to go to anyways? Collect the bundle from Jack. Also, we're gonna want a map, probably. There might be more stuff than I expected in this phase of things that need to be supported before. Oh, herbalist now. Yeah, there might be more things that we're going to need to support before we're actually able to do any playtests. We're probably going to want a map at the very least. We're going to want an easier way to find the quests, or the next step of the quests. We're going to need to make sure that there's actually dialogue options for them rather than just getting the items immediately. And we might flip the order of stuff around. I'm just glad to see that these quest steps are actually progressing. Okay, then the last one should be the blacksmith. Oh, gonna have to go far. Okay, has this gotten anywhere? I basically realized that yesterday I was using my wrong chat history here. So I basically am missing the context of what was actually implemented yesterday because I want to have the correct ones. So I've just sent Claude off on a scouting mission basically to figure out what was implemented yesterday. It was just the quests, but I know that this chat doesn't have any context on that, and I need to make sure to populate the context on it. So, spearheads and whetstone, mind the edges. Do. This song is very dark and ominous. Also, doesn't seem like scroll. The scroll breaks a lot. I don't know when and why. It might require zone transfer first. Okay, we've got a very rough quest complete option. Scout the forest. All right, let's see what is... Let's see if we actually have the visible locations for the quests. We're done to supply the troops. We're on Scout the Forest. No, we didn't accept it. Can't start up town defense yet. There we go, now we started it. So it's good to see that the quests did work. We didn't get any real XP for that. I don't think that quest actually gives XP, and that's not good. Oh, no, that is what's supposed to happen. That's weird. Why? What was that weird boundary swap? Oh. All right, let's take a look into this a little bit. Quest system status, here's what's fully implemented. The quest system is surprisingly complete end to end, all 6 steps. Interact NPC, object, entity, visit location, enter zone, collect item with correct trigger routing. 1 to 3 quest line with change requirements, multi-target step, requires items, grant items, spawn wave on set, step entry. Step entry. So they're destructible, basically. Flea NPC behavior, arena instance, full persistence, loot time, cross-reference validation, quest log, gaps in completion, collect item, passive trigger not fired on pickup. Requires picking it up, manually triggering something else before the step advances. Fix, add quest trigger, collect trigger in the interact. After the pickup of inventory update, enter zone trigger was not enter zone trigger not explicitly queued. The step type relies on passive step satisfied checks rather than an explicit quest trigger. Call in the zone transition handler. It works if something else fires evaluate quests, but it's fragile. Fix, add the trigger call. Okay, ambiguous world object visibility, footprint trail objects, footprints goblin have no quest visibility. Gate, they're always visible to all players. Armament types and orc commander are correctly gated, likely unintentional for the trail. Objects missing features, deliberate or not. No NPC quest indicator marker above NPCs. Players do not have any way to know which NPC offers quests without talking to everyone. No persistent HUD, objective tracker. Yeah, this is what I kind of noticed while I was trying to do this one. You must open the log to see the active step. Nothing shows on screen while playing. Quest log keybind not rebindable. Audio assets are still not in either. But whether the file exists would not confirmed. In the MMO, different classes of character archetypes like elf, orc, human, fairy, or others. What do you mean by that? Like you're doing that for your thing, or placeholder graphics is the main visual problem. There is no world objects, and quest items both pull from items colliding with everything looks like a random gear piece. To fix this properly, you need to either they won't be as playable characters. I'm planning on having a couple of different classes not classes. There are classes that are planned. There's not different races that are playable. There are different ones out in the world, but I haven't really gotten to any of those yet. I'm getting all the baseline stuff in place right now, which means being able to play as the lumberjack, and you don't get to do any selections at the moment. Everything looks like a random gear piece. To fix this properly, add a dedicated world objects row to items with semantic distinction. Option B, generate a separate world objects atlas and update the client's render world objects to load it alongside. Option A is simpler. The quest items package. The quest items package would get a row with distinct colors, e.g. quest items in the world objects would get a row 9 with investigation appropriate colors. 2 real blockers for the quest being playable end to end are the collect item pickup trigger. Okay. I like option B for the world objects and quest items. Additionally, I am experiencing a bug when transferring between down main and forced south. A lot of the nodes are not loading in as I cross the boundary. They're actually unloading. I think this one shows that nothing's loaded. See the minimap difference in the two screenshots. I need the what are they called? World objects to have the quest visibility return, or quest visibility added to them, only rendering them when the appropriate quest step, the entire step should, what's the prints, this is to render. Investigate if the cross-boundary bug is related to the quest updates. Holder graphics. The what's it called? Ones with. Okay. While we actually do get this quest, these quest issues resolved, I'm gonna minimize the game now, and we can take a look at some of these documents again, because we're still gonna we have to go through N3 to 6 anyways before we're able to actually implement them. I think we should start on N5 though, because that's the trading, and we can do a lot of these in parallel. Goal: enable 2 players to trade items with. So this is player trading. Enable 2 players to trade items and gold with each other in a safe server validated flow. The trade must be easy to initiate, visually clear, and protected by 2-stage accept before any item changes hands. The server is the authority on all item movements. The client cannot forge a trade outcome. Decision and answer initiate mode. Trade player name in chat, or right-click the player in the world and enter the context menu and trade. Trade UI placement in world does not replace the screen. Inventory space check. Both players must have enough space. Trade is blocked if either player lacks space. Quest-only items cannot be added to the trade offer. Server rejects any offer containing them. Cancel time: either player can cancel at any time before both accept. That seems good. Trade offer: players must be within a configured tile distance. Trade blocked if too far apart. Verification flow: 2 screens, visual item preview, text summary, and accept. Gold limit validated: server side player cannot offer more gold than they hold. Current state has no trade system at all. No right-click context menu for players at all either. Chat system handles / commands but has no trade command. Inventory system supports item movement client to server. No server to server item transfer exists. Scope: trade initiation, trade command player A types / trade player B. In the chat, and the server validates player B exists and is online, validates both players are within trade range. Sends a trade request message to player B's feed chat. Player A wants to trade with you. Click to accept. The clickable text is special chat delta. Special chat delta types that opens the trade UI on click. This is very much based off of the method of trading in RuneScape. Also, my That's more appropriate lighting. There we go. I think that washes me out a little less than before. Trade initiation, right-click context menu. Right-clicking on another player entity in the world opens a small context menu panel near the cursor. Player B, class level, trade. Trade sends the same trade request flow as the /trade command. The context menu dismisses on any click outside of it. The context menu panel is rendered in the HUD layer above the world. It contains the class display name, class name, and level, trade action button, trade UI, a trade panel in world overlay, your offer, player offer, item slots, gold, accept, cancel. Left panel, the local player's offer, editable. Right panel, the other player's offer, read only. Item slots, player drags items from their open inventory panel into the first offer slots. Gold items, text input for the gold amount being offered. Accept locks the player's side. The other player's side becomes read only for them too once both players press accept. Cancel cancels the trade at any point. Both players' UIs close. No items are moved. Chat has a line of message about the canceled trade. When the other player modifies their offer after accept 1 was pressed, accept 1 is rescinded, and both players and both sides become editable again. Verification screen. After both players accept 1, visual confirmation, text summary. Both players must complete both screens. The server does not execute the trade until both players accept is received. After accept is received, the player chat updates with trade successful in green text. Red text. Hey, how are you doing? Your name does not show up very well on my UI, I'm sorry. How are you doing, though? Trade successful in green text. With a line about trade successful. I'm doing good. It's a Friday, so that's always a good sign. Not much better than that. Server-side trade state mechanic machine. I'll be feeling even better if I get the quests and the trades working today. Because I thought I was going to be able to focus specifically on the trade, but I forgot how much I still had remaining on the quests. So, a fun process. Alright, server-side trade state machine, idle requested, open lock, verifying completed, lock verifying either player, cancels, canceled. I'm from Canada. State meaning requested trade, request sent player, trade request sent, waiting for player B to open the UI. Then open, both players have the UI open, offers editable, locked, both players pressed accept, offers frozen. Verifying, both players are on the verification screens, and then completed, both players pressed accept again a second time, and then the items get swapped. I know this is the actual server operation. Canceled, either player canceled, the session's just destroyed. The server maintains the state per active trade session. The session is keyed by 2 other player IDs. If either player disconnects, the trade is canceled automatically. The trades cannot be kept alive for more than 5 minutes. This should also cancel the trade automatically. I feel like it would be a bad idea to allow players to just have an infinite amount of trades open for an infinite amount of time. So I'm going to put an initial 5-minute cooldown, or not 5-minute cooldown, but 5-minute limit on an active trade being up. Because, like, let's be real, if you can't make a trade work in 5 minutes, like, you probably should just be discussing outside of the trade anyways. So item validation, and yes, I'm aware that there's going to be a whole bunch of problems related to trading. There is in every MMO. It's always an issue. No, it won't. That's the same thing people have said about books. I've literally dedicated my entire career to AI. I have a degree in machine learning and data mining. I've been a professional developer for over half a decade. I've been programming for nearly 20. The AI is a force multiplier that's going to save me about 8 years of my own time. So I'm going to take 8 years of saved time over any reason to write everything manually. I still have to go through the whole thinking process. I've got maybe 15 years of plans combined that are being combined into this. So, I'm dumb, not insane. Item validation. Before executing the swap complete state, each player still holds every item and amount they offered. Neither player or neither inventory is full related to what they're offering. And right now, what I'm doing is just, I'm going through the documentation that I've sort of built up from a whole bunch of bullet points and continue to go, just to make sure that it's actually aligning with what I'm expecting of this and what I actually tried to describe before. So, neither player still holds every item in the amount they offered. Neither inventory is full relative to what they are receiving. This is implemented in the same way as picking up items is verified. Neither player is trying to offer a quest-only item. Gold is offered is less than gold held. Yep, that's all fine. If any validation fails, the server cancels the trade and sends an error message to both players. And then we've got all the wire types that are actually going to communicate the trade offers between each other, as well as the items that are provided, the state of the trade, and the files to create are related to server and client. So the servers, this is going to be the state between communication. The trade UI is what they see. Verify is again what they see, and context menu is again for initiating the trade. Files to modify internal games, so wire, network, chat. Yeah, chat makes sense because we're actually having messages show up. Client, sync, trade, tick, input, world, and item. Why world? Why specifically world? Render. Oh, okay. That's to actually view the context menu when we click on them. Implementation order, wire types, server trade session struct, state machine shell, trade command parsing, trade action request, trade delta trade request. Player B receives trade request, action trade accept, delta trade open. Right click on player entity, context menu, render trade option in context menu, trade UI overlay, action trade offer. Why is this part being done so late? I guess it doesn't matter when that part's being implemented because we're not going to be able to see any of these until this is done. But there's nothing really that's done until this is implemented, so I don't really care what order that's done in. It's not going to affect any of the actual implementation, except first server move to locked, verification screen 1 visual, screen 2 text. Again, this is based off of the RuneScape trading method, so accept second server validated. The server validates and executes swap, cancel at any stage, disconnect mid trade, server auto cancels. 13, trade time limit seated. There we go. Trade time limit exceeded, server auto cancels as well. Assumptions, both players must have the trade UI open simultaneously. The trade is fully synchronous. Items dragged into the offer panel are temporarily reserved on the client, but not removed from the inventory until swap completes. The server does not support async or escrow trade. The entire flow must complete in one session. Trade range, distance. See, this is the part that actually has the potential to cause the most bugs with the trade. This can lead to a series of duplication glitches as well as a series of item deletions, but I'm not going to really worry about either of those situations until it actually happens. I just want to get the actual implementation, or like an initial implementation in. We can go back later and we can go through all the guards, all the synchronization, all the network effects and the order of operations. Right now, we're just trying to rough out literally all of the base mechanics so that we have enough for every mechanic to be tested in their interactions. Sometimes things will work out in a better than you expect. Sometimes things will work out better than you expect with a different order of operations that you weren't expecting, but it will be fine. Verification trade while out of range, error messages in chat, no trade request sent. In range. Okay, this is just how I can actually test it. I know the flow that I'm going to go through for testing it. I'm going to open up a couple of clients, grab some items on one, log into two of the different accounts, walk up to each other, try to trade, try to walk away, try to succeed a trade, try accept one, cancel the other. It's basic trading tests. So now we'll look into more of the balancing, and actually I think I'm going to look into the audio next. What plan do we have for this? Because basically right now what we have for the audio is we have a whole bunch of stubs. I say a whole bunch. We have like the 2 audio stubs made, and we're going to need to actually make sure that we're able to play audio effects. That means at some point I'm going to have to record some sound effects for audio, but I think that'll be pretty fun. I might not do that one on stream. That might be one of my nighttime things. I might just grab some stuff and bang around on them, and like, I don't know if the mic actually picks this up. Yeah, it doesn't look like it does from when I'm looking at the Streamlabs, but it's going to be fun. Also, Sad M Dev, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I hope you're still around to hear that. So thank you very much. So the goal for the sprites and audio is to replace every placeholder colored square sprite. Oh, right. This has the sprites as well. Why is it sprite audio, not sprite? I was expecting sprites and audio to be separate pages. Okay, that just means we're going to have more to review in this one, and it's a bit larger scope than I was expecting, but that'll be fine. So the goal, replace every placeholder colored, and yeah, these placeholders are going to be off stream. I'm not spending my time making the sprites on stream. Replace every placeholder colored square sprite with a real, even if rough, sprite before the phase closes, and wire up full audio system sound effects for gameplay events, and loop ambient music per zone. After N4, no entity visible to a player. Oh, we have quest visibility. Boundary bug fix root cause when a player crosses the boundary zone. Send smooth zone update. Send all the new zones nodes. Then the clear preview entities loop immediately remove them because they'd just been reordered from as preview entities while the player was still in the adjacent zone. Fix the zone transitions. So delete the preview entities and the new zone ID is called before. Send smooth zone update, which should send all of the additional entities again. The preview tracking for the crossing zone is cleared first, so the clear preview entities has nothing to do. World Object Atlas option B is done. Command Gen Atlas main added world object 5 columns by 1 rows. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to grab these and paste them over into the current sprite page. Goblin footprints, orc footprints, dead goblin name, lurker, armaments, target, client state, client added world object atlas. Okay, so we did add a new page for the world atlas. These should be. Ooh, why is it not updated in assets? Where does it say that internal client state render 1 world object now draws from here. Extended 9 rows, row 8. Quest visibility done. All 8 world objects were always visible, now have quest visibility. Okay, so world object atlas didn't generate them with the within the generated sprites. Verify they are created in the same way as other placeholder images or placeholder sprites, because they're not really placeholder images, they're just squares. Alright, so back to the N4 sprites audio. Every single action should have an accompanying audio feedback. I don't know about every single one, but like most of them should. That's for sure. So decisions, these are a couple of the things that we decided on when we were going through the initial documentation here in the implementation plan. Audio backend is we're going to use Ibid Engine's built-in audio package wrapped behind an audio player. That way we can swap it out if we ever decide to, same way we did for the graphics engine. Interface so that the backend is swappable later. Generated sprites fallback, generated color Generated colored square sprites remain as a fallback for any entity added. After this quest, N4 only replaces everything that existed before it. QuickTime overlay must use an image or animation background instead of a flat dim rectangle. Audio preloading, all sounds preloaded into the game at start. No runtime file I/O during play. Volume control per category volume. Persistent client config. Zone music, one track per zone group. Honestly, the easiest thing for me to do for the zone music is I'm probably going to find one of these songs I've been using for stream and just put that in there as a very light general purpose audio, even if it's just a short clip of it, so that we have some sort of ambient sound for it, just for testing purposes. Honestly, what I'm actually planning on doing for the music later in this is I have a couple of friends who are musicians, and I kind of want to get them to do the music for the game. So that'll be cool at some point. Zone music, one track per zone group. Loop seamlessly, crossfade into zone change. Sprite animation frames stored in a sprite sheet per entity type. Frame config in a JSON sidecar. Current state, all entities are rendered as solid colored rectangles with no animation frames. QuickTime overlay is a flat, semi-transparent dark rectangle. No audio system exists, no sound effects, no music, but it's stubbed in to be ready to accept the audio. No audio player interface, no audio packages in the client. What do we have here? Is it still going? All sprites generated, world objects. The updated items pattern is identical to other. Okay, so now if we go and take a look at the generated sprites, we've got a bunch of nodes and a bunch of items. So if I reveal these in File Explorer, I'm going to have to open each of these individually. You're only really going to see one. So that's items. This is nodes. I'm not actually sure which of these it's going to be picked up. I assume it's just the first one, which is items. Yeah, that's all you're going to see. Then world objects as well. I'm going to need to open that. Actually, world objects is something that I can just copy directly over out of the generated into the sprites. So that gives us world objects. I'll be able to edit those manually later. Then I need to open which ones again? Items and nodes. Let's start with items. Open with paint. So this looks like it goes down to, okay, first off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So really, I just need... So if I delete all of these and then just paste in the items we already have, then I can copy this whole thing over onto the other items one and save that. Okay, those are updated. Don't save that one because those are the placeholders. Then I need to open nodes. Now you'll be able to see which ones it's showing you. It's showing you the placeholder ones. Okay, so again, the easiest way for me to do this is going to be... Oh, I opened it with the wrong thing. Open this with paint. I grab all of these nodes. It should be showing you the other set of nodes right now. And then paste all of these. Okay, you'll see all the items are overlaid here. So this is from where I have to... This is where I have to start. There, so delete all those. Again, paste it in, and then I can copy the whole thing and just move it over to the correct page. I'm not sure if everyone's seen all of these sprites. These are all just sort of the placeholder sprites for... Oh, this is the bamboo. I was like, what the heck is that one? We've got our large tree. We've got... I should make sure that's showing the correct thing. Yeah, we've got our birch tree. We've got our pine tree, which should really be longer, but I needed it to fit the current size of the trees. I think this was like oak. This is maple. Bamboo. You'll see a lot of them are just copy pasted and recolored. This is like the poison something. I forget what I actually called it. Then we've got our herbs. We've got our buttercup, our bramble bat, or our raz bramble, or whatever we called it. I don't even remember what the other herbs that I added. And then the ores and the fish. So then we added a lot of larger ones as well, or we added larger sprites. So we have all of those now. So I don't need to save that. Close that. Now, if I pop back over to the game, when I reload this, I don't know why I'm trying to type it out again. So I'm going to pop the server on, and I will pop the client up as well. For anyone who hasn't seen the login screen, this is what it looks like. Very basic. Everything's very basic. Everything's a lot of placeholders. All right, well, that's not right. Let's see to make sure. Let's just go make sure that things are loaded elsewhere as well. I don't see any error messages in the logging, which is a bit concerning. I'm not sure if this seems like the wires got messed up a little bit. I'm not seeing anything loading up here yet. Where's my screen overlay? That's fine, I'll just reopen it. There we go, got it back. Oh, okay. Well, when in doubt, first thing is to restart the server. Oh no, the server's bugged. Okay. Kill it, open a new terminal. Up on the server. Let's see if we can determine when it crashes. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to open the client. The server is crashing after the changes that were made. It allows login, then freezes, and doesn't load any new zones. Alright, we'll get that going on the side, then we're going to go back to looking through the sprites and audio. So the current state is that all entities are rendered as a solid color. Okay, we already went over this. No audio interface, no audio package in the client. Scope of these changes is going to be the audio player interface. The audio system is abstracted behind the interface with internal client audio. We're going to add the audio player, play effects, play music, stop music, set volume. The EbitEngine implementation, EbitEngine audio player is the production implementation. Tests use a no-op stub, and the interface is passed through the client render and tick layers. No call sites touch the EbitEngine audio package directly. All sound assets are preloaded at the startup into an in-memory map key by ID. Okay, this means we probably want to watch out for our memory usage, but it shouldn't be too bad considering we're just going to be adding sound effects in like one song per zone. It's not like we're going to add a whole bunch of complex audio files. We might even be able to... not downgrade, but to have things more as like 8-bit audio. Again, because I do like the sprite and retro audio types. they also have the benefit of using much less memory. Because if you ever hear me playing them or complaining about other games, it's always about how much memory and how much storage they use. Like just last night, I literally re-downloaded Borderlands the pre-sequel. It's a 13 gigabyte game. It's 13 gigabytes. That's amazing. It's a full, great looking, great sounding game. New games are like 100 plus gigabytes. I don't understand why. I don't understand what happened. All sound assets are preloaded at startup into an in-memory map and keyed by ID. Missing IDs log a warning and nothing is played, no crash. Sound effects, once sound effect. All right, let's see if it gave an explanation here. The BOM is gone. Goes JSON parser will now accept these files. The crash was caused by PS 5.1 writing a UTF BOM EF BBBF that JSON unmarshaled treats as invalid syntax, causing the server to fail during the world object config loading, which is silently breaking the zone transition since the armament target objects couldn't be loaded. The zone transition code change was correct all along as the bomb corrupted JSON that I don't remember what bomb is. I think that's like file headers or something along those lines. Byte order mark. Okay. The byte order mark is a sequence of bytes in hex that some programs prepend to the text file to signal this file is a UTF-8 encoded. Right. Okay, so it is file headers. It originated in UTF-1632, where byte order actually matters, big endian versus little endian, but it got cargo culted into the UTF-8, where it's meaningless. UTF-8 has no byte order ambiguity. Microsoft Tools Notepad, older VS, PowerShell 5.x historically defaulted to writing it anyways. Why goes JSON? Parser rejects it. The parser expected a JSON file that starts with brace, bracket, or a quote in a digit, etc. Instead uses EF, BBBF, brace. 3 unexpected bytes before the opening brace returned a syntax error. Why is it invisible to you? The text editor typically strips the bomb from display so that the file looks normal, but the bytes show up only if you inspect the raw history. Oh, never mind, that's just the server, it's fine. Why is it invisible to you? Text editors typically strip the bomb from display so it looks normal. How's it happening? PowerShell 5.1 set context encoding, silently adds the bomb. PowerShell 6.7 changed the default UTF-8 without bomb to match the rest of the world, but 5.1 shipped with Windows still does it. The fix is to write bytes directly via the system.io file, write all bytes, which has no concept of bomb to use. System.io file, write all text, where false means no bomb. Going forward, we'll use, I mean, it's going to claim that it's going to use them. It's probably going to forget about it in like an hour. All right, so far looks good. There we go. Now I am looking for the footprints. They should be out here somewhere. The best thing I can probably do is actually pull up, follow the goblin tracks through the forest south. All right, I'm going to pull up the quest editor now, or not the quest editor, but the map editor, because I don't think that they're spawned correctly. So here is my map editor. If we go into the forest and we check quest, it should be also, let me just toggle these off. All right, so the footprints should be next to the buttercap right over here. I do not see the footprints, see the first or any set of footprints I am on the second quest. Have traveled to the location, or to the correct location, and double checked the location with the map editor. Verify and fix the rendering of these world objects. There we go. Ah, there we go. Oh, you weren't even able to... Yeah, so they're supposed to be right about here. But there's nothing. Which is unfortunate, but won't be an issue for long. Alright, we'll close these and we'll go back to looking over the docks. One sound effects per event listed below. Exact asset choices to be determined in implementation time. Placeholders. Short beeps. Public domain samples are acceptable to ship if the event hookup is in place. Ability fire. Ability hit land on target. Auto attack swing. Gather success. Gather fail. Footsteps. UI panel open. Panel close. Buy item from NPC. Sell item to NPC. Player death. Level up. Quest step complete. No. Not having a sound effect for each actual quest step, that would be absurd. Quest complete. Zone music, one looped ambient track per zone group. Music starts when the player enters a zone group and crossfades when they move to a different zone. Tracks are preloaded. So we're going to need to have at least 2 tracks. That way we can test the pre-fade or the crossfade. It'll be an important thing to make sure is bug-free, because audio can go really bad really quickly. I've never actually worked with raw audio for games. Personally, when I'm playing games, I have a lot of the audio muted, but I know it's an ambient part, or it's an important part of the ambiance in an actual game, so I'm including it anyways. I don't think I could bring myself to ever ship a silent game. That would be a bit insane. So we're going to have the zone group for the music ID. We're going to have town, music town, forest north, music forest. Additional zones is going to be to be determined. We're probably just going to default to the forest north, or the other. We're going to default to like forest music, basically. And honestly, this audio that's going on right now, I might just take like a clip of this and use this for some of the sample audio. Have the forest be a little bit eerie. Volume is independently controllable from SFX. Sprite pass. Every entity type that uses generated colored square sprite must receive a real sprite by the end of End 4. Animations are required where listed. Entities requiring sprites. Category types, animation, player, all classes, idle, walk. Where's there we go. Love this music. So sprite pass, everyone needs. Players, all classes. Well, I mean, we're only going to have one class for now. We're just going to have to get sprites for the lumberjack. Idle, walk, 4 directions each ability, cast frame. Auto attack, swing, death, mobs, all hostile types. Idle, walk, attack, death. NPC, all NPC types. Idle, walk if mobile. Nodes, all herbs and ore types, all size variants. Idle, dependent state. Items on the ground, all dropped items, static icon on ground. Items inventory, all item types, static icon. Buildings, all building types, static. Decor, all decor types, static or simple loop if animated. QuickTime overlay, the QuickTime challenge. The QuickTime challenge background, most use a rendered image or animation, not a flat dark rectangle. Not a flat dark rectangle. The overlay graphics should feel like a focus or skill check visual, exact artist to be determined. The wire contract. The render path just needs to accept the image source instead of a hard-coded fill color. Yeah, the overlay I'm very much looking forward to having, because it's going to be a gradual gradient towards the center, and then a series of, depending on the class, it's going to have like different effects coming in from the sides of the screen. like the cultist, the lumberjack's probably gonna have like vines or something. The mage are probably gonna have like rune lines. The cultist is probably gonna have like eldritch entity like effects. I have a lot of really cool ideas for that. Volume settings, persistence, volume settings, master SFX, and music are written to the client config file on change and loaded on startup. A settings panel in the client HUD exposes sliders for each category. Files to create audio, edit engine, nope. No op stub. Nope. Not happening. Loader, SFX, music, player, mobs, NPCs, nodes, items, buildings, decor, client tick world, entities, HUD, sprite, quick times, and sprite. This one's actually quite good. There's not much that I'm gonna need to change. It was really just take out the one set of things that are gonna have audio. This one was translated really well from my initial points. Then again, I knew it was less on scope anyways, so. All right, balancing and ability tooltips. So N1 base weapon damage requires an item config additions unlock. Enforcement requires server work, can run in parallel with N2. N2 is pretty much already done. A lot of these things can be done in parallel, but we didn't do any of them in parallel. Although we might get to clean build the fixes in zone transitions as both entity paths, why it was broken, send smooth zone. This is the same update. Never include world objects. They are exclusively delivered by refresh quest visibility. That function is only called when a quest step actually advances. Walking into a zone while already on quest 2 doesn't advance the steps, so change stayed false, the call was skipped, and the footprints were never sent. And that fires immediately after zone entry. Smooth transition, sibling segment, and hard warp. It acquires its own lock internally, so calling often is safe. The reconciliation also correctly handles the transition case. It removes the gated object from the old zone. Okay, yeah. So basically what it means is that the wire wasn't being transferred for the client. It wasn't included in the actual zone transition, but it was included in the quest transition only, which means that the player would only actually get those updates if they advanced their quest while they were logged in. If they logged out in between, then they would have lost them. So. Oh, hey, look, we got the quest. We got the goblin tracks. We can actually start on the quest again. Let's go. All right, I want to get the quests done. To be able to left click on the goblin tracks to get the examine, or to get the interaction text. Currently, it also, I should check, did it actually advance? Requires right clicking. Also, investigating the object goblin tracks is not advancing the quest log. Well, we might as well go look for the other goblin tracks in the meantime, because I want to see if I investigate the other ones, if that also causes it to, or if that actually causes it to advance or not. I don't think it will, considering the first one doesn't cause it to show 1 out of 2, it's still showing 0 out of 2. Also, this text is way too small. Maybe it's better on full screen. Oh yeah, it's much better on full screen. Oh hey, it did actually advance them though. It's just not updating in the quest log. Track the prince north through the forest. Too big for a goblin. The mud is pressed down hard. Watch out. The wolves are very strong. Okay. It's a good thing we got this healing from the previous quest. Whoa! Oh, we died. Rip us. Respawn's a bit buggy, but at least it still works. I guess if you're moving when you're respawning, it can cause it to get stuck. We'll probably want to take a look into that. That's not an immediate problem that needs to be resolved right away, but it is a problem that can become a bit of a pain later down the line. This would also be easier if we weren't on our class that is, or our character that's level 1, but we get the levels reset every like 10 minutes anyways at the moment because we have everything configured for testing at the moment. Man, can I say at the moment? More at the moment, at the moment, at the moment. Quest won't advance until after the first footprints. That's intentional. You need to follow the whole trail. We died up here, so I should see... Oh! It reset. What the... Okay, that's a bit of a problem. I think I know what the cause of that was as well. Ooh, that's terrifying though. Ah, what am I doing? Okay, I'm gonna close this and describe a couple of additional things here. Currently, the step of the quest shows 0 out of 2 regardless of if I have interacted with the quest object in the world. After interacting with the first set footprints, it should update the quest log to show 1 out of 2. Also, when I progress towards Forest North, none of the mobs, nothing in the zone renders until I have crossed the transition boundary, but the forest mid is still part of the forest. This should mean that the transition boundary preload zone allows me to see what is loaded in the zone. I think this was broken when the mobs were made when the mobs / nodes were made not to render for the player while in the town. Should not have broken the rendering when in the forest. And same. Okay, we'll get those cleaned up, but we'll keep going through this for N3 balancing. So, what time is it? No, cat, it's not food time yet. You want to come up and say hi to stream? You want to come up and say hi to stream? Come on up. No, the cat doesn't want to come up and say hi. So, the goal is to bring mobs, boss, and player progression into genuine balance through playtesting-driven configuration changes, and then surface the numbers directly to the players via ability tooltips. The weapon-based damage stat is introduced here as the foundation for all damage calculation going forward. Ability unlock levels are enforced server-side for the first time. This phase is a config-heavy and iterative. Most of the work is in playtesting and adjusting JSON, not in new code. The code work start on cooldown, tooltip, wire, unlock enforcement, weapon-based damage is a prerequisite that unlocks the config pass. So the decisions, enrage trigger, I'm not really going to go, well, maybe I should. Enrage trigger, ability based, not HP threshold, fires whenever the cooldown expires. Same with any other ability. Start on cooldown is required so that the boss doesn't start enraged, because that would be terrible. Damage formula, base weapon damage, plus level times damage level cutoff, or coefficient, not cutoff. Stat modifier applies on top. Weapon-based damage required for all equipable weapon item configs, int or float. Unlock enforcement, server side reject use if player level is less than unlock level, client shows an empty slot. Tooltip data source, delta player abilities, extend with description, base damage preview, and then balance source, no external table balance source? What? No external table reference, all values found via playtesting. Lumberjack unlock reference, chop, hatchet throw, fortify, roll at base, sweep at 6, pocket sand at 10, and nature's fall at 15. I think that should be a pretty good level curve, considering the max level is up to 35. Players will have their full kit for this class. Like basically, the lumberjack is the tutorial. The lumberjack is the tutorial class. You're gonna get to explore the world mostly with the lumberjack initially. You'll unlock your other classes. You'll get to level them up. The goal is for it to take roughly 10. On the fast side, it should be about 10 hours to level up the lumberjack. Then you get the other class. It should be about 10 hours to level up the other classes as well. They'll have different level scalings as well. But basically 1 through 10 is you unlocking your class, learning the combat, getting a feel for things. Then beyond level 15, you're going to want to upgrade your abilities a bit, get used to the upgrade system, explore the world a bit more, find out about different mobs, what challenges are. I think that should be a pretty good sort of difficulty level and introduction curve for the overall game as a whole. Start on cooldown, damage formula, weapon base, unlock, enforcement, tooltip data, balance source, lumberjack unlock reference. Yeah, we went over that. So the current state has the mob HP, damage, and XP values are rough estimates, not play tested at correct player levels. Boss Orc has a basic ability set with no enrage or start on cooldown mechanic. No start on cooldown fields exist on ability configs. Player damage does not use weapon-based damage. I am looking for this, for the Orc boss to be, at least on the default setting, should be balanced for roughly a level 10 player, or a level 10 class. So we'll have to look into that one. No start on cooldown, player damage does not use weapon damage. Class configs hold flat damage values. Ability unlocks levels exist in the skill config, but are not enforced server side. Client shows all ability slots regardless of the player level. No hover tooltip or ability slots. Delta player ability does not carry descriptions, cooldown, or MP cost fields. The scope of this is the boss enrage ability plus start on cooldown. This is going to be the sort of the enrage mechanic that we use for all bosses going forwards as well. The Orc boss gains an enrage ability, a self-buff cast that fires whenever its cooldown expires. It's not tied to an HP threshold. This is basically like, hey, if you're in this fight for a minute, the Orc is going to suddenly get real strong, so you might want to figure out how to kill it faster. New ability config JSON, type reduce all cooldowns, damage multiplier, restore HP, restore MP. I can make it overheal. Start on cooldown true. The cooldown timer begins the moment the boss aggroes a player. Not on first use. On aggro reset On aggro reset, all players leave the room or disengage. The cooldown resets to full value. This pattern is the standard for all boss and rage ability phases going forward. And the cool thing as well for this, if I want a boss to basically always enrage, or to enrage a whole bunch of times or very often, or just be super difficult, I could do like 5-second cooldown, reduce all cooldowns, damage multiplier them, then just not give it an HP and MP restore, and it'll basically, or you can give them an MP restore and let them just blast their abilities. That would be really funny. Yeah, this is going to be some fun stuff to mess around with. The cooldown timer begins the moment the boss aggroes a player, not on the first use. On aggro reset, all players leave the room or disengage. The cooldown resets in its full value. The cooldown resets to its full value. This pattern is the standard for all boss and rage mechanics going forward. Weapon-based damage. The equipable weapon item configs must have a base damage field. This is pretty standard across any video games in general. The auto attack damage formula changes from the flat class value to the auto attack damage is the weapon-based damage plus the combat level times the damage per level. Class damage per level, yeah. If no weapon is equipped, a class-defined unarmed base damage is used instead. Ability damage formulas that currently use a flat base should be updated to the reference weapon-based damage where appropriate. Melee and ranged magic use QuickTime scores independently. I assume this is using for the abilities and not for the auto attacks. Okay. Ability class enforcement ability unlock levels are defined in the skill config. After this phase, they are also enforced server side. On action usability server checks player's combat level against the ability's unlock level. Rejects with a log warning if under the threshold. Delta player abilities includes unlock level per slot. Client renders an unlearned slot as empty, no icon, no label until the player meets the level requirements. The unlock level is shown as a tooltip on the empty slot unlocked at level N. I think this makes sense. We don't want players to have no idea of what's going on there, wondering why it's there. I'm also considering allowing players to have multiple copies of the abilities in the slots if they wanted to. That's something we'll come back to later. It's not going to be in the initial form of testing. That's very much tied to the ability to modify your abilities. So basically what's going to happen is players are going to have their ability book. They'll be able to put multiple different abilities into the ability slots, and then they can modify the abilities independently. So perhaps a player sets up an entire hatchet throw, like a hatchet throw build on the lumberjack. Say they primarily use 3 different builds of hatchet throw, one which has a very low cooldown, one which they use as their chain initiator to have a very strong buff on it, and then one to snare or apply different effects. The other thing is, though, I'm not sure what I should do about the cooldowns in those cases, because I think that would be pretty cool, but I don't know if each slot should have its cooldown independently, because that would allow players to actually spam the same ability over and over, and I'm not sure how I want that. But I still like the idea of being able to have like 2 different builds of the hatchet throw. So you set the first one, which sets you up with a strong ranged chain, and then you have the next one, which is sort of your filler hatchet one. The more I think on that, the more unhealthy I think that could be. So maybe I will come back to that one later, but I'm starting to think that it's not a good idea as I talk through it. So, ability unlock enforcement. Ability unlock levels are defined in the skill config. After this phase, they are also enforced server side. On action usability, the server checks the player's combat level against the ability's unlock level, rejects with a log warning if under the threshold. Delta player abilities include unlock level per slot. Client renders an unlearned slot as empty until the player meets the level requirement. The unlock level is shown as a tooltip on the empty slot unlocked at level N. That might be too much text, but like maybe if you just hover over it. Ability tooltips when hovering over an ability slot in the HUD. Ability name, short description, estimated damage before defense reduction, cooldown reduction, and MP cost. So we're going to need to update the Delta player abilities, the payload to extend per slot. So this is going to add the descriptions and sort of the baseline details for it. Okay. Tooltip rendered as floating panel position above the hover slot. Dismissed when the cursor leaves this slot. Playtesting targets adjust the configs to match level range and time to kill solo mob, time to kill a player, no healing. Level 1 to 5, 8 to 12, 20 to 30. These are very rough estimates. I don't really care too much on these. 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 10 to 15, 12 to 18. So here's the thing with this. I don't actually see a reason why the... well, I guess without upgrading your stuff, it should take you longer to kill higher level mobs. But there's no real reason why, like, if you're in the correct level bracket, it should take you longer to kill a mob of that level. It makes sense to me that, like, if you're level 10 and you're trying to fight a level 10 mob, it might take you the same amount of time as if you're level 20 and you're trying to fight a level 20 mob. This is why this part's going to be a lot based on the feel of how playing it works, rather than specifically numbers based, because numbers can say one thing and then it can feel totally different in game, and that's probably going to depend across different classes as well. So there's going to be a lot of balancing that's going to have to happen as we add more and more playable features and effects. Config values to tune per mob. HP damage, MP cost, and XP reward. This is the one that I'm going to have to focus on a lot because that will determine the level curve. All existing mob configs must go through at least one playtesting pass. Values are not final until the level appropriate character complete the area without trivially one-shotting mobs or dying to the first hits. Boss rebalancing pass. Add 2 to 3 new abilities to increase fight variety, specific abilities to be determined during playtest. Tuning the HP, damage, and cooldown values. Add Orc and Rage ability with the start on cooldown. Verify that a solo level appropriate player can complete the fight in learning mode within 3 to 5 minutes. That's way longer than the actual boss fight is going to have to take. Learning mode, around 1 minute. It's the first boss. It's a tutorial boss. You are not spending that much time in it. Really, 1 minute might still be a bit on the high end for it, but it'll depend whether it's actually a fun boss to fight or not. Player level balance pass config values that tune XP required per level. The curve should feel steep early, flattening slightly at cap. Stats gain per level per class, damage per level, unarmed base damage. Ability unlock levels, this we already went over. All other classes need their unlock tables defined. These are to be determined and must be designed before implementation. And then this is the list of the files to create, modify, create Orc and Rage, ability, item, class, combat network, wire, HUD, sync combat orc, mobs, items, and classes need to be updated. Implementation order, I'm not really too concerned about. Assumptions that the playtesting is done with a character at the intended level for each area. Balancing values are iterative. The verification below describes the target feel, not specific numbers. All classes other than the Lumberjack have their unlock tables defined by the time implementation starts. No. Only the Lumberjack will. And then verification is just going to be testing. I feel like this got completed already. Make the editor use. Wow, I suddenly cannot read. Make the editor usable for authoring quests, content, and for reading a dense map. Today, every overlay is drawn inside the owning zone's pass, so overlays from one zone are painted over the next zone. There's no way to hide overlay clutter, and every object property that is not exposed by a dedicated tool must be edited by hand in JSON, including the quest gates or added in N2. Overlays render above zones. Problem draw zone renders the zone's fill tiles, buildings, and overlay transitions out of bounds regions, nodes, spawns, NPCs in one pass. Zones are drawn in sequence, so the zone drawn later covers the overlays of one drawn earlier. In a dense zone, the transition wrecks from the first zone vanish under the second zone's fill. I think we've resolved this as an issue. We did a little bit of this bug testing yesterday, or bug fixing yesterday. I don't remember if I did it necessarily on stream or off stream, but it should be fixed for the most part now. So requirement zone rendering splits into two passes, base overlay and overlay pass. Control toggles the active zones overlay. We've definitely implemented this one. Inspect panel, we've definitely implemented this one. Quest view toggle, inspector cares a quest view toggle, also bound to queue. Yeah, we've implemented this one. I think we did do this one yesterday. Transitions with a quest requirement drawn in a distinct color and labeled with the quest step that unlocks them. Same type node highlighting. Yeah, we updated that as well. Okay, so N3 is actually done. That's cool. And then the last thing is going to be auth hosting. The last thing? No, I know there. The other thing we're going to have to do is we're going to make the minimap zoom in. We're going to have to make the minimap zoom. We're going to have to make the minimap zoom in a little bit more. We're going to have to add a world map on M so that the player can actually see sort of where they're at and where they're going, because they're not going to necessarily know the whole place. So we'll probably add an N7 for that. Or we'll extend the N3. But I think adding an N7 is better. So auth and hosting. So this is, it can be done in parallel for N2, 3, 4, and 5. This one should just be a list of sort of what has to be done. I don't think this one's going to be as automated. I think I'm going to have to do a lot of this manually because I got to set up stuff on another computer for the server anyways. We have to have a lot of stuff done first as well so that I can actually have the changes being consistent and not need to fix bugs. So the goal for this, oh wait, no, this is the login first as well. Okay. The goal for this is replace the username login with a Discord OAuth as the primary authentication method, while keeping a username login fallback available via the .env flag for local testing. Define and document the self-hosting configuration so that the server can be deployed to a public network without code changes. Only configuration difference between local and public nodes, only config differences between local and public nodes. Decisions and answer Discord versus username. Discord OAuth is the primary login. Username login is kept behind the .env toggle for development. Player identity, Discord user ID is the stable player identity. Display name is chosen on the first login. Can differ from the Discord username. Resolve player abstraction. A single resolve player function accepts either auth methods and returns the same internal player UUID. For auth reference, DDID, basically I have another project that I've been working on. I'm right at the release step for that. And I've just got to actually set the hosting stuff up for it again. It's always the last mile on everything that takes the longest. And by that, I mean, I've been refusing to do so because I've got to make a series of extra accounts, get a whole bunch of different additional secrets that I've got to put into the environment for it. And then the deployment will be ready. I really need to get that done this weekend because there's stuff I'm excited for, and it's important. I should still stream, though. I don't think I'm going to not stream to implement it, but it might be a couple shorter streams on the weekend instead. I'm not going to stream implementing that, though, because I got to look at a lot of secrets, and I don't want those accidentally shown on stream. I was working on it last night again, and I almost started this stream sharing the entire page of secrets anyway. That would have been the dumbest thing I had ever done. So anyways, the decisions here, self-hosting config, local versus public difference is the address and port config. No code changes required. Secret storage, OAuth credentials live in .env, never in the code or committed config. So the current state is login with username only. Resolve player looks up by username. No OAuth infrastructure in the server. Discord, no Discord application registered for this project. No hosting has been documented. Self-hosting has no documented config. All addresses are hard-coded or environment inferred. No end file toggle for auth method yet either. For the scope, the Discord OAuth flow, the client initiates the login by opening a browser to the Discord OAuth URL. This needs to be embedded in the login screen. The server hosts a small HTTP callback endpoint separate from the game's WebSocket server that receives the authorization code, exchanges it for the Discord user ID, and either creates a new player record, first login, username selection, or resolves the existing player or Discord user ID. The server responds with a session token that the game client uses for subsequent connections. First time login player completes OAuth flow. Server receives the Discord user ID. The server checks no player record found for this Discord ID. So this is basically swapping the username over to the actual Discord ID and then requiring that the user set a username. Server prompts the client to select a display name rendered as a simple text input before the game world loads. Player submits a display name. Server validates length, uniqueness, character, waitlist, and creates the player record. Game world loads. Return login player completes the OAuth flow. Server receives Discord user ID. Server finds the existing player record, returns the session token, and the game world loads immediately. No name selection is done because you've already chosen your name. Resolve player abstraction is referred to the type auth method interface, the type Discord auth struct, and the type username auth struct as well. Both implemented auth methods. The server calls the resolve player regardless of which path the client used. The internal player UUID is unchanged by this refactor. All existing player data is preserved, which is good since I have my testing accounts. Env toggle for username login. The username auth true flag in environment default false switches the server back to the username login when toggled. The client shows the username login player. Username auth is used in resolve player. Discord OAuth callback endpoint is not registered. This flag exists solely for the development testing. It must not be set in production. Discord application registration. Discord application must be registered in the Discord development portal. Yeah, I know. I have the same thing done for DDID already. Before implementation, OAuth 2, I will probably actually redirect that DDID 1 to using this instead because that one was just for testing and I've got to set up a new one anyways for the specific process. OAuth 2 redirect URI, local, callback, local to callback. Scopes require identify client ID and client server secret go into env, and keys, client ID secret, redirect URI, and username auth. It's funny, when I do these big documentation days, I really do end up getting lightheaded if I'm just talking way too much for way too long. It really, really changed my impression of how I think about people that are actually making live content, because there are people who will just talk non-stop for like 8, 9, 10, 12 plus hours a day. And when people do full-on like streamathons, oh man, I don't know how they talk that long in a row. Because I find I start to get lightheaded once it's been just over an hour of non-stop talking. So they are definitely built different. Self-hosting configuration plan. The server can be run in 2 modes without any code changes, only .env config file differences. Local mode LAN only, server bind address, server port, server public host, client server address, Discord redirect. Public mode internet facing, server bind address, server port, server public host, client server address. I'm probably going to have to register another domain for this as well and then set up the domain with some port forwarding. I think I need another service to be able to actually deal with this from local service or from local network exposure, because I believe the public facing IP is set onto rotation, like IP rotations or changes every so often. So I'm going to need to find a service that is able to actually help me to adapt that I know they do exist, but the other option is to basically get in touch with my ISP and have them help me expose a permanent public IP. But that's actually more concerning for a privacy standpoint, because with the rotating IP addresses, I'm actually able to keep things more safe. I'm only going to be providing access to certain select people to begin with anyways, so it's less of a concern, but still there's always the concern of when you're making anything public facing. So anyways, the public mode for internet facing service, we're going to have the server public host, the client server address, which is the domain, Discord redirect URI. Firewall and port rules is what I'm going to have to set up a lot of as well. WebSocket port default 8080 must be open to inbound. OAuth callback port, same or separate to be determined at implementation, must be accessible from the internet for Discord to redirect to it in public mode. I'm probably going to end up using Nginx for the server hosting as well, because I'm already familiar with it with a couple of other projects that I'm hosting server side, but those are cloud hosted, and this one's going to be actually local network hosted. What does not change between modes? The server binary, the database config, and any game logic. The server hosting plan is captured in a self-hosting markdown document. Not a design doc, a practical operations guide that includes step-by-step for both modes. This is just so that when I forget how to do it. And the port rules and the end references. OAuth callback HTTP server, a lightweight net HTTP server from this separate from the game's WebSocket server handles. Get Discord callback, receives the code, query param for Discord, exchanges the token, resolves or creates players, redirects the browser to a simple login successful return to the game page. The callback server shares the same process as the game launcher, starts on a configurable port. So we're going to have to create the auth package, which is going to have auth Discord and callback server. We're going to update the render for login Discord and name select. We're going to have to add a doc for self-hosting. That self-hosting doc is mainly for me, for when I've forgotten how to self-host. The files to modify are the auth server config login client. And we're going to have to add a .env as an example initially. Whew. Implementation order. Not too worried about these. Verification, server start. Just clicking login lets us log in. First time login. Valid name submitted. Disconnected and reconnected. Resolve player server running in local mode. And OAuth credentials are read from and without any missing credentials cause a clear startup error, not a runtime panic. Okay. I don't think I'm really going to be streaming for that much longer. Like I said, from reading all the documentation, I'm getting a little lightheaded right now. I am going to step away to feed the cat, and hopefully that will help me a little bit as well. Feeding cat. Okay, let's try to finish up some of these things. So we're going to go take a look at the implementation plan. We're going to scroll down to the bottom again because there's a couple of things that we need to add. Also, these line numbers are totally misleading. Minimap needs to be zoomed in a bit more. Add zoom in / out buttons on side of minimap. Game zoom needs to be fixed. Sometimes the zoom doesn't, or sometimes it doesn't let the player zoom in / out. Zooming in / out messes with the rendering of the out of bounds decor. Zooming in causes it to draw lower. Zooming out causes it to draw higher. This makes it look like the out of bounds decor is flying way above the map. Players need an in-game map. Pressing M brings up a full world map showing where the player is. This does not hide things. It shows everything on the map currently. These are really quick notes to add, but I think that sort of covers the things that we do need added. Need a way to add new NPCs in the map editor. Buildings need to be updated to use the building tiles. Mobs and other players need to have an HP bar above their heads. I think those are pretty reasonable things to be adding as well. I think those are all the things that are missing too. I'm sure there's plenty of things that we're going to figure out that is actually missing as we go through this. And as we do more testing and all that good stuff. So, not sure where this is at right now for this. I have a clear picture of both issues. Issue 1, the quest counter, the break in advanced quest exits without sending a partial update for the multi-target steps. Issue 2, the Forest North preview from region transition in the mid-forest starts at y = 250, the exact boundary. A player at y = 252 moves about 5 pixels per tick, can easily jump from outside the region to inside the Forest North's boundary. That just doesn't sound true. I open up the map editor again. I always think map editor is just taking its time to load. Map editor, and we hop in here. Here are the two boundaries, and that's just complete bullshit. Maybe it's not lined up correctly. No, it's definitely aligned. What is this? Is it out of bound region? It is. That's weird. That's very weird. Do, 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 do. All right. Issue number 2, Forest North preview of the From region for the Forest North transition in the Forest Mid starts at Y equals 250. The exact zone boundary. A player at tile 252 moving. I think the AI is imagining things. Anyways, I'm kind of just chilling now. I'm not sure what else to do for the rest of the stream. Because I'm kind of just waiting on this. There's not really much to do. We're stuck on the quest until it's updated. We could always edit the map a little bit, but I'm kind of... It's a Friday. I kind of just want to chill for a moment. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to chill here. It's not... Unfortunately, there's no one around to really chill with. That'd be real cool. Oh, my bot has an issue again. Looks like it missed the 5 p.m. report. So let me just grab my server. Dang it. Come over here. Oh, there we go. I'm just going to take a look at what happened there. Gosh, stop. Okay, let's see. I'm looking for the 5 o'clock one. 5 o'clock. Failed to post. Okay. That's what happened. Basically, it ended up overwriting one of the runs because there was an error that caused it to wait an hour, which ended up causing the time to conflict with the other run. Oh well. That's something that I'm not going to fix on stream. That's simple fix as well. I'll just change the... Simple fix on stream, though. Or simple fix off of stream. Oh, hey! We may or may not have the fixes. Fixed quest counter. When step satisfied, returns false for multi-target. When the client will receive it and display. Well, let's not take the word of the AI. Let's hop in and let's verify this. Let's figure out where we are at. Yeah, no, it didn't. Well, we should try to level up at least. Ooh, don't get hit. Oh, yeah, I'm dead. Anyways, we can at least test the quest part here. So saying out of 3, we're gonna go try to find them. This is all placed in a very terrible spot here. Just keep running, just keep running, just keep running. Okay, there we go. That's at least updating on there. Well, cool. It updated while we were looking at it. That's always good to see. Now we're going to have to get to the third one. Okay. The quest counter is working now. But the zone reload is not. I checked the map editor and the zones reloads are correctly defined. I can see the nodes that spawn across the preload zone, but the mobs do not render. Neither does the quest object. The last set of large footprints don't render until crossing the boundary. Double check that the information for the mobs is correctly being sent by the mobs slash objects is correctly being sent sent with the wire when in sibling zones. Well, you know what they say. When in doubt, train some wood cutting. That was the error reset. If I walk up here, it's still fine. It's just, whoa. Ha, get unloaded. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the error here is just that one of the wire objects is not being correctly sent across when the player is in a sibling zone in the preloaded locations. I think that's related to the changes that we made so that the players were not able to see the trees and mobs when they were in the town. Oh, we are so dead. Yep. Do, 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 do. Oh, the mobs are. Yeah, it definitely is related to it because I'm also seeing it here. Mob's render loop has not mob has target preview. Mobs has at spawn and never received a movement update. World objects never sends them in the preload. No, I don't think that is the issue. Oh, this is my fault for doing the changes yesterday on a different chat. Oh, I was wondering why it was so frustrating to work with. Well, it wasn't really frustrating. It was just not giving the correct results as fast because it had context from a different project and not this current project. So now that I'm back on this project, I'm now missing the context of the changes that I made yesterday, which is a bit of a problem. Oh well. I can just sit back and relax a little bit. I also don't like that I heard my server pinging. My server should not ping. Whoa, get over here. Get over here, server. I'm apparently trying to destroy my computer. All right. Here we go. What is this going off about? I don't mind it trying these different things, but it's just weird that... Well, I guess I did have this issue with it yesterday. I don't want to swap the context, grab the information out of it from the other one. So, what I should be doing here is I should be going back to the other chat. I should be having it give me a written text, basically a brain dump of all of the changes that needed to be made for the mob configurations to prevent the loading from in the town. But I don't feel like doing that. I think I'm gonna just try to rebuild the context in here by solving this again. Mobs added during the build preview delta for zone send go, which includes dormant mobs. Now calls this instead world objects. Well, let's... Let's test this out. being sent to the player so that they can be rendered when the player is in the preload area, so that the minimap nodes and out of bounds structures are communicated. The mobs are not being sent to the player so that they can be rendered. See screenshots. The first is before crossing the zone. The second is immediate after. Then if the player crosses of the zone again, the mobs disappear again. For a screen shot. This is likely due to the changes which were made to prevent the player from seeing forest north mobs spawn forest above the town while in the town before completing the third quest. The issue is that now the mobs do not render when the player is in preload zones, which need to be showing everything the boundary so that it feels like a cohesive world. This is gonna end up doing the compact, which is dot slash notes. Might as well add the changes that we made to the documentation. That way we can commit the other ones separately. You know, I kind of want to play some Pokemon Showdown. I don't know where I put my Switch. It's not at my desk. Well, probably over in the kitchen. And I don't think I'm gonna go grab it right now. Still got to figure out a way to show that on stream. I think that would be fun. I think that would be entertaining. It's not like I'm the best at Pokemon, or not Pokemon Showdown, Pokemon Champions. There we go. It's not like I'm the best at it. I'm at least in Master Ball tier. I get very frustrated once I start getting RNG'd out. If I lose a couple of fights to flinches, or if I lose it to freezes, or me. How come I never get the RNG? How come it's always the RNG against me? Also, in addition, it's kind of crazy what's been happening with Bitcoin over the past couple of days. Bitcoin is flying again. It's up like 20-something%. Up like 20-something%. A whole bunch of altcoins are flying again as well. A whole bunch of memes are flying. It's been very entertaining to watch. I hope it keeps up for a while. That would be a nice treat to this part of the year. Especially if it's full bull season again, if it's gonna be Uptember and October, because everyone's been saying how Bitcoin's dead. I had a friend message me back in like February. It's like, Bitcoin's dead. What are you doing? It's like, I don't care. It does its thing. It goes up. It goes down. It goes around. I haven't just been hearing about it for the past 16 years for nothing. 16 years? 14 years, yep. When I first heard about it, it's so rich. Could have been so rich if I didn't listen to people. Why is that a lesson I had to learn later in life? Don't listen to people when you think you know better. Or not when you think you know better. Don't listen to people when you know better than them. How do I get these lined up? Which honestly could be very, very bad advice for some people. But like, once you're doing something and you know that you're better than, like, way better at it than the average person is going to be, then there's no point in just listening to the average person on it. And you can pretty much assume that most of the people that you're going to interact with it are the average person. For example, with video games, if you're playing a competitive video game and you're in like the top 1%, if someone doesn't have exceptional proof that they're better than you at the video game, just discount their opinion. Don't listen to what they're saying. Like, it's pointless. But if they do have exceptional proof that they're better, then yeah, you should probably listen to them. But it gets to a point where you're so good at something that there's no point in listening to another person on it, because they're gonna, the likelihood that they actually have the knowledge that you don't have on it is going to be so minimal. And unfortunately with life, there's a lot of things that you just cannot determine whether you're actually better than someone at or not. So if it's something that doesn't actually harm someone or go against anything that you need to be seriously concerned about, or is a moral or ethical issue, then just there's no point in taking other people's advice for it, because you got to live your own life anyways, and you got to figure out what's best for you, and you're going to know what's better for you than what's not better for you. Or like, if you think something's better for you and it doesn't harm anyone else, like, don't listen to other people on what you should or shouldn't do for it. I know that can be taken out of context for a lot of things, and it can be applied to things very poorly. But again, like, I don't care, man. Oh yeah, now's a good time to double check that I can't fish. Yeah, I really should have an error that pops up and says, "Oh, you don't have a fishing rod, or you need a fishing rod. No fishing rod." Something along those lines. That'll help players know what they need. The screenshots confirm my build mob preview deltas for zone fix isn't reaching the client. Nodes appear in preview, but mobs don't. Let me trace through the actual mob broadcast path to find the real filter. Like, yeah, I told you this was the case before. I did not use the term build mob preview deltas for zone, but I told you that the nodes were spawning for the preview zone and the mobs were not. Now, let me read the full broadcast to zone and send zone preview to find the actual filter. Like, AIs are fun to work with. I really enjoy it. It adds a little bit of entertainment into the mundanity. Plus, I'm going to be honest, I don't really miss getting stuck on bugs for 60 hours. I much prefer getting stuck on bugs for, like, an hour. It's a little bit less transparent on what's actually the issue. And sure, sometimes I'll get stuck on a bug and I'll just go through and race the AI at tracing down the issue. But it's fun. I enjoy this workflow. I think it's a great improvement. I wanted to be mama. Oh, mama. Found it. Mob perceives is the filter. Let me read it. Internal game NPC. Let's go look at what's Let's go look at what's going on here. Internal game NPC. Internal game. NPC mob AI. No, I don't care about the mob AI. It's not going to be the mob broadcast test. Or not mob broadcast test, but mob... Oh, I guess that's a test that it made for it. Mob perceives requires that mob zone ID equals P zone ID, the exact zone guard added to prevent town player activation of forest mobs. This also means that preview zone players never activate the mobs, so mobs stay dormant and my preview sends them as static delta spawn. Now, let me check the client's delta spawn handler to see if there's any zone filtering on the receive side. I don't know why I've given Claude this voice, but congratulations, Claude, this is what you sound like. So anyways, what was it saying that this is an internal game NPC function mob perceives? If player is dead, mob perceives. Mob entity and player session. If mob's not equal to nil and player not equal to zone, mob zone ID equals player zone ID. Shouldn't this just be... I'm gonna be honest. This should just be mob zone ID is in player current zones, because current zones is the union of the zones that the player is currently in and the player's preload zones. Claude, this really isn't that big of a bug. I'm like, this should be an in because the player session has multiple zones that they're in. Let me look at the clear preview entities and the zones preview entity tracking to understand the full remote flow. Let me check the mob render loop to see if there's a camera viewport filter. Claude, my guy, it's, you already said zone ID and player zone ID. The player session has multiple zones. The zone preview makes the player into the union of a couple of different zones. This is what I mean. Sometimes you just trace through it and find it before. Like, I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it's due to just checking equal rather than the union. Let me check what the handle zone. Let me check what the handle delta zone preview does on the client. It might clear or restrict rendering. Let me find handle delta zone preview and handle delta segment change. The bug is right here, Claude. Where's zone ID on here? Group ID, non-empty when zone ID belongs to a group zone. Visible zones. Visible zones. Claude is right there. Man, the player session has well, not way too many, but player session has a lot of different fields now. what was it called again? Visible zones? Yeah. Let's see if we can just push Claude in the right direction, because like it's really not liking these zone visibility things. So I'm just gonna push it in the right direction, because this bug really isn't as bad as it seems. It really shouldn't be too bad. No, Claude, what are you doing? Why are you checking Zone Forest North? This is just a standard rendering order thing. You need to check if the player is. Oh, you need to check if the player is in the. You need to check if the player is in the visible zones and not if the. Claude, my guy. It's not that big of a bug. It's really not. But now we're kind of just chilling here until house. Entity player sessions already has visible zones. Shared zone ID. Let me check how it's populated on server side. It's about time, Claude. It's about damn time. The visible zones is already populated and zone transitions go. The fix is in mob perceives. Let me check if sim radius to understand. Sim radius is only 20 tiles. That shouldn't matter. This is not a... I don't care if the mob is active. I just care if the mob is visible. No, the minimap does not render the mobs. That I totally spelled client. Where? Way too wide. Ugh. It's these sorts of bugs that drive me crazy about actually using LLMs for things.
You're exactly right. Key visible zones is already set on entity player session and carries the preview zone set. The fix is to use it in update simulation state only, not aggro combat flee, or we'd get mobs chasing the player through the zone walls. The cleanest approach, add mob in sim range for the simulation activation. Only keep mob perceived strict for aggro combat flee. Let me make the changes.
Yes, Claude, you're getting there, Claude. Let's go. It's not a tough bug. It's really not. I'm right at the boundary of, hey, Claude, you've been taking your sweet time on this one. Do you need a person to hop in there and fix it for you? But so it's actually really funny. There is one. Yes, the user is correct. There's one thing that stops me from just making all the manual changes for Claude instead, and that's that I like to maintain the context of the entire set of changes, because the context gets curated by the compact to keep more relevant stuff rather than just more recent stuff. So by making the manual changes, yeah, sure, I fix the things, but then I have to get Claude to retrace stuff and augment context, and it's annoying.
The user is correct. The data is being sent by the build mob preview delta for zone, but the mob AI immediately cancels those spawns. Here's the timeline. Preview fires delta spawn queued up for all Forest North mobs. Next tick, the mob's AI sees mob perceives player as false. If the mob was active, mob append remove, broadcast to zone. Delta remove, preview players receive it. Client delta spawn, then delta remove, mob removed. Visible zones check in the updated simulation state. In the fix, it prevents the deactivation delta remove from canceling the preview spawns. All aggro combat and fleet calls stay strict. Clean build. Here's what the fix does and why it solves both symptoms. Before I read...
wow. Stuck with the Claude voice. Anyways, before I read that, I'm gonna just, check if it's actually fixed. Because if it's not actually fixed, then I'm just... Claude. It's not a tough bug. Hey! Right? I need to make it visible for you guys. Look at this. Look at this, Claude. You did it. You done did it as soon as I find the correct spot to put this. There we go. Look at that. We can see the mobs across. And then as we cross, they're still there. Okay, I do need to go and check that the forest is not broken at the north, though. Because if I have to bug fix this again, these should not be rendering cross boundary at the forest north. Please, please, please don't let this bug be back. Let's go! Not all the goblins are visible through the wall. Holy shit. Alright, let's read what Claude had to say now. Clean build. Here's what the fix does and why it solves both symptoms. Root cause. When the player enters the forest mid preload zone, or any preload zone, and sends the delta spawn for the forest north mobs, but on the very next mob AI tick, mob perceives strict zone check, returns false for the player preview. So any active mob in the forest north deactivated, and the delta remove gets broadcast to the player preview in the broadcast to zone forest north, which includes the visible zones. Net result of the client was the delta spawn is then delta remove and the mob is gone. Fixed mob in sim range used only in update simulation state also returns true when the mob zone is in the P visible zones, so the forest mob stays active while the preview player is watching from the forest mid. No deactivation, no delta remove. Mobs stay in world mobs and render when they come into the camera range. What stays strict, the mob perceives is unchanged. All aggro, combat, flee, and damage checks still require the mob zone ID equals the player zone ID. The mobs will not chase or attack players through the zone boundaries. I'm kind of fine with that. That's a quick fix. That's an equals versus an in. If it ends up being weird, I can change it at any time. Remaining limitations: if the mobs start at spawn positions 47 plus tiles from the boundary, they won't be in the camera range until the player walks into the forest north. But once activated from the prior player visit or after the player crosses, they stay visible during the preview when the player crosses back and won't vanish anymore. That's perfectly fine. I'm just glad we got that resolved. So, one more thing now. I'm going to send Claude off to just implement these notes. I added a series of notes to add to the bottom implementation plan. Write up a new section of changes that need to be made, bracket N7, for these covered changes. Update the implementation plan, then write up the N7 subphase. Okay, while we do that, we're gonna try to finish the quest here. What are we on? Scout the forest. We've got to go find the dead goblin in the forest north. Man, talking in that Claude voice really hurts my throat as well. I don't think I'm gonna do that for much longer. I was just getting a little bored and antsy with Claude. Whew. Yeah, no more of that. Whew, man. I might not do as much talking for the rest of today either. I don't know how people do voices for that long. Oh, that was just a short time as well because I just started doing it to meme on Claude. Buff the player! Buff the player! Oh, we died. This is a dangerous run when you're level 1. Okay. I really should give myself speed boots that, like, triple my speed, quadruple my speed, quintuple my speed. Nico Address, how are you doing? Sorry if I've mispronounced your name there, but... Welcome to I try to complete my own quests and refuse to level up because we have a 10-minute timer. Yeah, see, there's the reset, and we just got sent back to 0 XP because the 10-minute timer hit. Currently reading through some Go documentation. The Go docs is actually really nice. They have the whole website is super well written, and it's great. It's kind of crazy that it's all written up on the single website, and you don't actually have to just read the docs in like CLI. It's kind of. I don't know why I actually find that strange. Maybe it's just because I originally had to use inline docs for C. So, Go's a fun language. It's documented so well. Okay, these wolves are ridiculously strong. I should really just ignore them. Actually, what I should really do is get some more healing items. But what fun would that be? Plus, I'm pretty sure I need... Oh, I'm so dead again. Reading through the documentation of the crypto package. Oh, cool. I haven't really looked too much into Go's crypto packages. I've done a little bit of... shoot, what's it called? Done a little bit of encoding for stuff, but not looked into the crypto package as a whole. Steganography, that's what I did a little bit of. That's what it was. I should probably level up a little bit more here. No, cryptocurrency. Yeah, steganography is pure cryptography. Steganography is the embedding of data within an image. It's really fun. It's often used for hiding, hiding information in an image. It's used in a lot of ARGs as well. I find it very fascinating. Cryptography was one of my favorite subjects that I ever actually touched in university. It was very fun. I think I liked it because it very much relies on prime numbers, and prime numbers always felt more like the actual puzzles. Ooh, I need some herbs there. Oh, I only got 2. Well, that sucks. But at least I'm level 3, so I'm gonna get one shot a little less. Let's fight this wolf. There we go. We are very underleveled here. Also, like the Rust programming language, I have not looked at Rust at all. I know people really like it because of the, I guess, the safety checks that are required in it. I honestly don't know if I'm gonna ever look much into raw programming languages again. Oh, holy, look at all the wolf fur I've got. If I do, though, I'm probably going to look into Zig over Rust. I have to find this goblin corpse. Holy wolves. I just like Zig because it's got a cool name. It's got a cool name and a cool icon. Dead goblin. Its ribs are caved in, not a blade, but something something blunt and very strong. I'm gonna have to make sure that this portal also doesn't render until after these quests, because I don't want the player to really be able to fight the tutorial boss before completing the tutorial. Whew. I think I've done a great job on creating these wolves. I really do. Okay, let's see if we can get some see if we can get some more herbs here. There we go. That's level 7. That's at least a full heal. We're going to continue on now. There's the dead lurker. Cut in a dozen shallow places. It was swarmed, not overpowered. Yeah, these descriptions are actually decent. I gave a tiny little bit of flavor text, and then... Oh yeah, what does the quest say now? Observe the Orc Commander. Orc Commander should be right up here. There's the Orc Commander. Which really we should be able to observe from a distance. The orc watches you without alarm as though counting, then turns and walks into the trees. It definitely did not turn and walk into the trees. Requires supply to complete. Report your findings back to Sergeant. The quest is working. However, it doesn't have a stable 1.0 version. Is Zig really that new? Holy, what the hell is going on outside? Is Zig really that new still? Oh, I bugged something there with that one. I don't know what I did there. But yeah, what I was trying to say, well, there was a car going absolutely insane outside near me. Is Zig really that new? I did not realize that. I thought it had been around for a fair bit of time. This just hasn't gotten the stable version, and it has been around for quite a while. Okay, this is roughly a safe spot. I want to make some changes to how observing the orc commander works. I don't want the player to walk up to the commander to observe it. I want the player to have to observe it from 10 to 20 tiles away. If the player approaches closer than 10 tiles, it should start throwing 300 or 500 force boulders at the player without lost standings. Okay, we'll see if we can get that change in. I'm just glad that that quest overall seems to be working. As soon as we've completed this quest, I think I will be ending my stream for the day as well. Quite a bit of progress, lots of bugs fixed. We verified all of the documentation that we needed. We came up with a couple more things that were missing for this phase that need to be covered. I actually got to play some of the quests. The quests aren't bad. The quests show you around the town. I might need to change the ordering of who you go and talk to. I need to add some extra indicators. I need to add quest indicators. But overall, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, well, there's another series of bugs that I'm going to need to deal with. Complete quest. Scout's Ring and 100 Piety XP. Hey, where did our ring go? We have it equipped, but it's apparently not rendering because our strength went up. Well, that's an issue. I gotta remember to use the roll as well. Anyways, I think I'm gonna be ending things there. I gotta go get some food now. I'm quite hungry. Thank you everyone for stopping by. We got quite a bit done today, a lot of stuff on testing quests. This is going to be a very long-term project. We've been working on it for 61 days now in total, a little bit more than that because I had a bit of a vacation in between, but we've been working on it for over 2 months now. If you're curious in seeing how this game turns out, or if you want to see how the initial playtest comes along, which is going to be happening in hopefully just a couple of weeks, feel free to drop a follow. I am live nearly every day working on the game, and then I putter on it a little bit at night as well, so that we can make progress towards getting the impossible Project Hatchet on its way. Anyways, this has been a great stream. This has been a lot of fun. We saw some